Question 2 is a critical thinking question, so we'll jump to the end, and it asks us which one of the following can be drawn as a conclusion from the passage. So let's go through the passage. The number of people in the UK with tuberculosis has nearly doubled in the past 25 years. But for most of us, the chance of catching the infection is still relatively small. 3/4 of the infections recorded last year were in people from deprived areas. 1/2 of them were not in employment. 1 in 10 of them had a social risk factor, such as poor housing. In these cases, people's immune systems are not robust due to health problems, poor health, or diet. TB is also more common from people from countries where it's endemic. About 3/4 of those diagnosed in the UK every year were born outside of the UK. One of the biggest problems in dealing with the new prevalence of TB is that the current generation of doctors is largely unfamiliar with it, so they don't even consider the diagnosis. We'll start by considering potential conclusion A, which says that people coming from other countries are more likely to have weaker immune systems. Now, although the argument does say that those from deprived areas tend to have weaker immune systems as a result of poor health and diet, and also says that it's most common in people from endemic countries, there is no such conflation made in the piece, so this is a conflation made outside of the piece with no justification. So it cannot be drawn as a conclusion. Now, potential conclusion B says that people with a poor diet are likely to live in deprived areas. Now again, this is an extrapolation from what's in the piece. The piece actually says that those with infections come from deprived areas and they're likely to have a poor diet, as an explanation for why their immune systems are not robust. People with a poor diet may be more likely to live in affluent areas, but it's just the case that in these deprived areas there happen to be many people with a poor health and diet, which explains their poor immune system. Option B says that younger doctors don't appreciate the seriousness of the illness. Now, this isn't something that's suggested in the piece at all. It may be the case that they are unfamiliar with the condition, i.e. they haven't come across it a lot in the developed world, but that doesn't mean they can't understand how serious it is based on the patients they do see or based on what they may have read, so they may well very much appreciate the seriousness of the illness. Option D says that the figures of TB may well have been overestimated. Now, there is nothing in the piece to suggest this at all, apart from the fact that it's doubled over the past 25 years. So we can discount this option. Finally, we're left with option E, which must be true, but we'll go through it. E says that people born in the UK who are relatively affluent are unlikely to catch TB. Now, this is true, and right off the bat, the statement was made in the argument that for the most part, the chances of catching the disease are relatively small, but it increases from deprived areas and increases with your country of origin. So someone born in the UK wouldn't apply to this. Someone relatively affluent would not apply to the argument from deprivation, and that would mean that they are less likely to catch TB. So we can say this is true. That means we can say that our answer is E.